Welcome back to Sorry We're Booked. I'm Jessica,
I'm Lainey.
and today we're going to review our April book club pick of the month, which is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Miss Rebecca Yarros.
None other than the Dragon Queen herself.
I know. I feel so bad. I knew she was a writer before Fourth Wing, but I don't know. It just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
So I was really excited for this one because I was pleasantly surprised.
I was too.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I don't know if you felt this way, but I didn't read it. I listened to it, but I could pick up on like some of her same cadence
Yes.
of writing as Fourth Wing that we've like grown to know and love. So that was cool to see like how she has a very similar writing style, no matter if she's writing in fantasy or in fiction.
Yeah.
So
it was really cool because there was also times I felt this. I also listened, which the audiobook was fantastic.
Yeah.
And there was times when I'm like, gosh, I can't even tell this is the same author. And then other times I'm like, there it is.
Yep.
There it is. I see it. No shadow daddies, no magic. But, oh man. Anyways, it was great. We're going to dive into that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, before we jump on into that, we're just going to do a quick recap of what we've been reading, what we're currently reading, what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
We're already in Q2 of the year. I can't believe it's
Where's
already...
the time gone?
I don't even know. Already April. It's crazy. So, so what's on your... radar?
So I just this morning finished The Things We Leave Unfinished. We have book club tonight, so I was like 2 times speeding it, trying to get it done, while working simultaneously on my real job. But right now, I just started on the way over to your house, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Have you read it? Okay,
Yep.
Is it good? Did you
I
like
liked it.
Okay,
I like it, and I think we've said this before. What I like about her is it's kind of in the same universe.
Yeah.
So you're going to see characters from your other one,
Yes.
like Daisy. I think Daisy Jones in the Six. Someone makes a pop up. Anyways, you'll see kind of all throughout. So I love all of her books just because you're like, hey, there's a little shout out of a character previously.
Yeah.
So that one's good. I don't remember if I listened or read it. It was a while ago, but it was good. Yeah. I like it.
I just needed something. Seemed summery because it's like obviously set in Malibu on the beach, and then I think it's a mystery. I don't know much about it, but you're right. Within the first it's not a spoiler. Within the first 2 paragraphs, Carrie Soto is mentioned.
See, I think I didn't know that because I think I read Carrie Soto after this one, and so yes, I remember. Yeah,
they said Carrie Soto, and I was like, Carrie Soto. Carrie
know
Soto.
her.
Yeah. She's my friend. Anyway, so I just started that. I'm very, very early on into it, just the first chapter. But I'm reading right now Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins.
Okay.
Very, very big right now. Obviously, Hamish's story just came out. And I am deep into it right now. I'm about 80% of the way through. And it has blown away all expectations.
Are you listening or reading?
I'm reading it.
Oh, nice.
I'm reading it, and I didn't like what's the other one? Songbirds and Snakes or something like that.
Yeah,
it's President Snow's story. I wasn't the biggest fan of that one, so I was kind of hesitant going into this one of okay, how is she gonna basically lead up to the real Hunger Games? What's it gonna be like? Am I gonna like Haymitch more? Am I gonna like Haymitch less?
Oh, because he's like a love to hate character in the Hunger Games.
Exactly. And I've only loved him more.
Oh,
so
awesome.
whenever you get to it, I can't wait to discuss it with you because it's really phenomenal.
Do you recommend, do I need to, because it's been like a decade since I read the Hunger Games. Do you feel like you need to reread those first? Or is it good as a standalone?
When was the last time you saw the movies?
It's been a minute. I could easily catch up on than rereading the whole series, but I think I saw it maybe 3 years ago.
I reread only the first Hunger Games, and I've been fine.
Yeah.
If you've seen the movies recently and know the main characters and stuff like that, you'll be good.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, because I've been seeing it everywhere. I'm like, I need to. I never read the prequel. I didn't read Snow's story. It's on my radar, but I've heard a lot of good about this one. Good press.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's see. Minus the one that we just read for book club, I'm currently, this one's kind of a different, not genre, but it was just, I don't know, it's interesting. It's called I Hope This Finds You Well by Natalie Sue. It is put out there as kind of, if you've read Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine.
Yes.
It's a mix. They said it's a mix of that kind of character with The Office. So
Oh.
it's like if you were to get Eleanor Oliphant
Just
and
someone
put her
quirky.
in the
Yeah.
office setting. And so far I like it. And it's the whole premise is she is just an awkward individual.
Yeah.
Like I said, just very Eleanor Oliphant, kind of in her own head, doing her own thing. And she gets in trouble because when she writes emails to coworkers, she'll write something nice, and then down below it, she'll tell you how she really feels, but put the font in white so you can't see it. And it's just her way of like
Getting back.
sticking it to the man, sticking it to other people. She'll tell you how she really feels. Well, one time she forgot to highlight it white.
Oh, no.
So she gets in trouble. And so she has to go through this training and like, I don't know, some kind of
like corporate type compliance. Yes.
Yeah, corporate compliance training. And in that, they have to change her security settings because they want to start monitoring her activity. Well, they mess it up, and now she gets access to everyone's computers, and so she can see communication of all of her different coworkers. So she gets an inside glimpse of what people really think and feel. So imagine like an awkward character in the office setting with someone like Michael Scott and Jim and Pam, and then she's just like, I have access to everything.
I know it all.
So it's really cool so far. I like it. I'm like halfway through. I'm reading it. It's really good. It's just, it's funny because I really like Eleanor Oliphant. Her character kind of irked me a little bit initially until I reread it. So if you don't like Eleanor Oliphant or her character, I don't think you would like this book because she is kind of that just different.
Just socially,
kind of cringeworthy where you're like, oh, you feel for her.
Yes.
I love it. So I'm really enjoying it. So I did that one. I also finished the third book in the Butcher and Blackbird series. I don't know what the Ruinous Love trilogy. That's I always say Butcher and Blackbird series. Yeah. The Ruinous Love. It is Scythe. Is that what we came up with? Scythe and Sparrow. It's the third book of 3. Loved it. I would put it 2 out of 3. Like I would do Butcher and Blackbird number 1, this one, and then Leather and Lark as the third one. Is
the story concluded now? Has it like wrapped up, or do you think it'll continue?
So it did. Well, it is a trilogy, so it wrapped up because it's 3 brothers. Okay. So each book is another brother. But she left it open-ended in the end to where you could see another book being made, but you could see it being part of a different series. Like there's a side character that popped up at the end that she could go down that path, but it wouldn't be the brothers' story because all 3 brothers have been wrapped up. Gotcha. So love it. Love the audiobook. This is the one I told you is that Irish Boston accent. I love it.
Is it just as gory and weird as the others?
Yes. I love this Bryn Weaver. Her trigger warning list is just hilarious. Like she just I don't know. I can't describe it except it is just so ridiculous and far-fetched that you're like, yeah, I want to watch this. Like this one is all about someone who's in a carnival. Like not carnival, a circus. Like you're just like, I don't know. A doctor and a circus performer get together and they're serial killers. I don't know.
That's wild.
It's great. Yeah, I highly
sounds like a
recommend
fever dream.
It is. While you're reading it, you're like, this can't be real life, and it's obviously not. So, but I highly recommend it. And if you do read it, I would suggest listening to it because it just
adds so much.
I think it adds. I'm curious what I would have thought had I read it initially, but the audio is like chef's kiss to me. I love that. They can do no wrong. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of currently reading. There's a lot on my like TBR. I think a lot is coming out right now.
Yes.
I say that every time, but I'm like, no, it's nonstop.
No, I mean, what's coming out this week? We have Fearless, which is the third of the Powerless trilogy.
Right.
We have Abby's book coming out this week.
Yes.
Part of your
remember
world.
me.
Say you remember
part
me.
of your world.
Oh, that's one of her others.
Yeah,
I just got confused.
This one, Say You'll Remember Me.
Yep.
I'm excited for that.
And then Emily Henry's book is coming out in April too. It's like 3 big ones all at once.
Yes.
Great big beautiful world. I think
sounds right. Yeah,
something like that.
I'll take it.
That
sounds like a book.
I was looking at because I pre-order on Amazon and I was looking at. I was like. It's like Christmas, like they're all coming out at once. I love it.
I think I remember that when we were doing this in January, we were like, April's going to be a great month because it was just like spring. And,
hit after hit.
Yeah, and that's when a lot of authors, like, because they do like 1 book a year. Yeah. A lot of them do it at the same anniversary. So, I'm all about it. I'm
We're excited.
Okay, so going back into the things we leave unfinished. So this is Rebecca Yarros. Let's see. When did she write this? She wrote this, 2021.
That's recent.
Yeah. So was that right before Fourth Wing? I just don't know.
I think so.
Yeah. So anyways,
It's got a really good Goodreads. It was 4.3.
Yeah, I could see it. So, kind of the premise of this one is there is a famous romance writer who, when she passes, and she's written, I guess dozens of romance books. She's just, I don't know, kind of not the Harlequin books. What do you call those? Like the ones that always,
Yes,
that's what I envision.
the
With the
shirtless
Fabio,
guys.
Yes, Fabio on the front. She's like
the hair
that.
flowing.
Yeah, I can't think of the author that everyone. Anyways, so she's like that. She's written dozens and dozens of books over her lifetime, and she passes away, and her great granddaughter kind of gets roped into this scheme by her mother to complete her great grandmother's last
work.
like unfinished work. The big thing though is that this last unfinished work was the story of her life, the great grandmother's life, and so she gets another famous current modern day romance, no, not romance author, yeah, he's kind of romance,
yeah, a little bit of both.
gets him to finish it.
Yep.
And the whole book is just kind of bouncing back and forth between that timeline, which was in the 1940s,
Yep.
During World War II. Yep. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Right on the money.
Right. I was like, which war? Okay, World War II. So it bounces between that timeline in 1940 and the great grandmother's love story, and then it jumps to modern day of the great granddaughter and her working with this author that she can't stand.
But he's so attractive.
So attractive.
Yeah.
He's so attractive.
But she just hates him.
Yeah, but like it's almost not insta love, but like insta lust.
Yes,
as well.
for sure.
So that's where it opens up. Kind of is you're bouncing back and forth. Now I did the audio, and what I liked about it is very distinct narrators because the great grandmother is British. So you have that beautiful, and then you have that 1940s,
Yankee,
Yankee, like Scarlet, and you're like, okay. I don't even know what that is. I think of like Pal, right? The kisser, like the
Come here, City boy.
yeah. Let me at him.
You're so right, though, because when I was listening to it, I was like, this is almost kind of like a cartoon, the way that he's doing this Boston accent. I get that he's supposed to be a Yankee, but I mean, he was Yankee.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder how to take that time frame seriously, because they're like, Scarlett, my dear, I love you so much. Come here. And
I
you're
know.
like, oh, just great set.
It was a little cringy at
It
times.
was, but at the same time, it was just beautiful, like, I don't know, descriptions of their romance. And so, I loved it. There was a couple parts that irked me throughout, so it wasn't a perfect 5 stars for me by any means. It was very odd to me that it was Rebecca Yarros. Like I said, sometimes I'm like, there she is. But most of the time, I'm like, man, she really went a completely different... Even though they're both romance, one's romantasy, it felt very different to me genre-wise.
A lot more polished.
Yes.
Like the Empyrean series is obviously set in like Basquiat with like, dragons and war and all the, and I guess this one was war too, but in the 1940s. But that, her fantasy world is a lot grungier. And then this one is just, the British accents and like, the inheritance. And it was really cool to see.
Yeah. I will say it almost, not almost, I didn't lose, my love for Rebecca Yarros, but Onyx Storm really irked me just because it felt so rushed that going to this afterwards, I'm actually pretty happy with, because I'm like, okay, I do love her writing style. I wasn't happy with Onyx Storm's felt of being rushed, but the fact that I think it's her, I get her and Sarah J. Maas confused of who's going to stop to go back to another genre. I think it's her.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. She's definitely going back to fiction. She said,
which after reading this, I'm like, I'm actually going to probably read more of her books. And my mom has read all of her previous books.
Oh, really?
And she told me she loves them. So this was kind of the starting point for me. Yeah. So kind of some of the different characters throughout this book. So you start off, so in the 1940s era, you have Scarlett, who's the main character. She's the author, the writer. And she and her sister, Constance, are come from not royalty. What do you call it? Like just
wealthy, like not a duke. It's
baron,
baron, and I know that they have a
baroness.
huge estate, and basically Scarlett was betrothed to marry a, I mean,
Horrible guy.
horrible. He would beat the women that he was with, like just a very scum of the earth type of individual, all to secure her, I guess,
Title,
status and
yes.
title
Because
in
the parents
England.
were losing it. I think they had spent it all away. Like they were spending all their money, so they were forcing her to get married. Like it was either that or you're disinherited.
Yeah.
And so to kind of skirt around that, she's like, I'm just going to go to war.
Yeah.
So her and her sister end up going to join the war efforts on the British side of things. And so while there, she meets this guy, Jameson,
Yes.
the Yankee. Just with he's a pilot, and it's one of those of you don't get involved with pilots because they don't live very long. They don't live very long. And so kind of like Pearl Harbor, I think of that. They had the riskiest job. So she sees him and he immediately is obsessed with her, loves her.
Yep.
She's like, he's gorgeous, but I don't know. And it's through these beautiful, you get kind of glimpses into their relationship because one, the flashbacks, but two, each chapter, I want to say almost every single chapter starts off with like a letter.
Yeah.
Where they're reading one of the past communication. And so you start to fall in love with them. You know that they get together very early on because the letters outline it, but you get to see their love story develop over time. And just the odds they have to overcome time and time again because they're both in the war effort. Jameson can get moved to a different station and then she gets moved. She's also in a, what's the word? Not secretive, very secretive.
It's very classified because
There you
she's the one who basically is she maps out what the planes are doing and she can see it a couple times. She's like, well, that's Jameson's fleet that's going there. How many planes are going to end up coming out? And she's watching it and 12 came out, 12 out of 12. He's safe. We're good. And so it's interesting because a couple times she references that not even Jameson knows what she does.
Right.
And
right.
for good reason. I mean, if he gets captured by the enemy,
Yeah.
he can't know that kind of information.
Right.
So it reminded me a lot of the Rose Code.
Oh,
you
yeah,
remember when we
yeah.
read that one?
Yep, I
and
do.
it's, the women behind the war effort.
Yes.
And I loved that part of it for sure because it was like, man, that's just like the stories that you don't hear about often
Right.
of the powerhouse behind. Obviously, the men were going to the war, but there were some really, really smart cookies
Oh, I know.
orchestrating all of it.
Well, and it was crazy because they were also like not looked down upon, but like her parents could not understand why they
Why?
would waste their time
Yeah.
doing that. It's like,
Lowly war efforts.
yeah, I'm like, sorry, trying to fight for my country, and they're
Yeah.
like, no, that's beneath you.
Yeah.
What? And so yeah, they go back and forth to that time frame, so you get to see this beautiful story develop over time. Then you flip to the other side of thing, modern time, with Georgia. That's Scarlett's great granddaughter.
Yep.
How she's introduced is so the great grandmother dies. And she goes home to visit and walks in, and like her mother is striking a book deal with some agency.
Yep.
Totally lying about it too.
Yep.
She's pretending to be Scarlett
Yep.
just to get this book deal because great grandmother wrote her mother out of the will.
Yep.
Like she was like, no, you know. So this mom is just kind of a real piece of work.
Yeah.
Like
Real skeezy.
yeah, always trying to get what's best out of it for her. She's on husband number 3. Just trying to get, anything she can out of this situation. And Scarlett, bless her heart, she just wants to make her mother proud. Like she just thinks, oh, if I give in, my mother will love me, my mother will stay. And that's never the case.
Just wants her approval.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so enter in oh my gosh, Noah.
Yeah.
Noah. Enter in Noah. My favorite. I love not enemies to lovers, but I love that kind of friction where she walks into a bookstore and she's looking at her great grandmother's book and she's like, oh. And then this guy comes in on his cell phone and is going on and on about this book. And he's like, oh, it's, I don't like the cover art on it. And he asks her, oh my gosh, not Scarlett, Georgia. He asked Georgia, what do you think about it? She's like, I think he's a terrible author.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, doesn't hold back at all. And of course, he's the author. He's like,
Yeah.
no, that's my book. And she's like, yeah, it's still terrible.
And then lo and behold, the agency that they're striking up the deal with, in comes Noah, and it's like, oh, we've met before type of thing.
Yep. Like, oh, we know each other. Because they want him to be kind of the ghostwriter to finish it, because half of the book is complete at this point. I don't know. I think they say half.
Yeah.
So they want it finished. They want it to sound as if she had written the whole thing. So he comes in as a ghostwriter. He really wants this book. He really wants to write this book because, I mean, it's career defining, and Georgia is very against it.
Yeah.
The whole thing throughout this entire book is, from the very get-go, it doesn't end well. Like they say, Scarlett's story does not end well. Obviously, from the very get-go, and this isn't a spoiler, but just in case you haven't read it, from here on out, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't read it and you don't want to know what happens,
stop now.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
See you next time.
See you next time. But for those who have read it or want to know how it ends, so from the get-go, Jameson doesn't make it.
Right.
That
Scarlett has remarried to a guy named Brian. That is who George's mom or George's dad, grandpa.
Yeah, that's George's grandpa.
So we know that it doesn't end well, and George is very resolute on the fact that, like, there's no happy endings in life. We're not going to write a happy ending for this one. We're going to make it as realistic and true to my great grandmother's story as possible, because that's what we owe her. We can't just buff over things and make it look like it's perfect. And Noah's against that and wants to write a happy ending. Yeah. And so basically they compromise, and he'll write two, right?
He's going to write his ending and George's ending.
Yep.
And the hard thing is, Scarlett is known for only writing happy endings. Yep. Noah, in his modern day, he's actually known for his sad and depressing endings. Like, that's what, I forgot what they keep referring it to as poignant.
Yes. Yes.
Ending. So he's known for writing
realistic
and sad endings. But when he comes in and she's like, all right, that's what you're good at. You're good at sad endings. He's like, no. I want to write it how your great grandmother's known for. I want to write a happy ending. She's like, no, the whole reason we hired you is because you're not good at that.
Yeah.
And so it's just back and forth. And he's like, I really feel like it needs a happy ending.
Well, Georgia has all the baggage too. She had just recently got out of the divorce with Damien, who we hate.
We hate him.
Who basically cheated on, I think the line was, cheated on her with anybody in a skirt.
Yep.
So 10 affairs within their marriage. And so she had just recently gotten divorced, is super, traumatized, and has just all this baggage going into
Trust
working
issues
with Noah. And that's something that he, over time, has got to, prove to her and overcome. So
they point her out as like, they paint her out as an ice queen.
Yep.
Because poor Georgia, she feels like she's been used all her life because her great grandmother is so famous. I mean, as an author. And so her ex-husband, Damien, got famous as a producer by getting the rights to Georgia's great grandmother's movies or books. So he got to do all the adaptions. Yep. So because of that, him and her get famous and wealthy in that regard by making a production company, making all these movies, and then he cheats on her left and right. And to the point where they end in divorce. He gets his lead actress or assistant, whatever, pregnant. So they get married. Or no, they weren't married. They were going to have a baby. And she said, I can't have children. So that's why Damien was like, great, I'm going to move on. So they divorce. She comes back home, and that's kind of where it starts. She just has all these trust issues because of Damien, because her mother was the kind that was never around. And so she's just kind of challenging throughout the whole book. Like, anytime Noah tries to do something kind or nice, she just shuts down.
Immediately.
Can't stand it. Yeah, can't stand it. And him, of course, he's never had a woman talk to him with truth. I mean,
challenge him.
Yeah,
and
I've
fight
never
him.
seen a woman like that. Like,
Feisty.
Okay. Yes, we've heard this song and dance before, but I'm still gonna eat it up. I get it. You love her because she stand out. Okay, so he's obsessed with her from the get-go, and he's like, I'm going to win her over.
Yep.
They have a book deadline. It's like Christmas Day, 3 months from now kind of thing. So he's doing all this research. She lets him not stay there, but like come over whenever she wants because
Yeah.
he wants to research and learn about it.
Go
And
through photo albums and work on her great grandmother's desk and just really try to be Scarlett to
yeah,
write like her.
yeah, get in the mindset of her and Jameson's love story. So yeah, that's the whole premise of the book. You're going throughout, you're seeing their relationship develop, both Scarlett and Jameson, as well as Georgia and Noah.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was really beautiful. I loved Scarlett and Jameson's story quite a bit.
Yeah. Which one did you like more?
I actually liked Noah and Georgia's story more
Interesting.
until the end.
Oh.
I hate like third act breakups
Yep.
or miscommunication. Y'all know I don't like miscommunication tropes.
Miscommunication.
Oh, this really grinds my gears. Okay, so buckle up. So at the towards the end, you know, everything's developing beautifully. Everyone's falling in love. Scarlett, Jameson are getting married, having a kid in the war effort, yada yada. Georgia and Noah are starting to get together, yada yada. Everything's going beautifully. Noah finishes both versions of the novel, but he feels like Georgia is just viewing their relationship as temporary. And he's
Right.
like, you know what I need to do? I need to postpone this deadline so that I can convince her to fall in love with me. So even though I finished the novel and both stories versions, I'm not going to tell Georgia so I can.
He finishes it within like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then like stays another 6 weeks.
Yes. Yes.
And they fall in love, but they just won't. Well, he admits it to her, but then she won't admit it to him.
Right.
Of course. Because that's how that goes.
Yeah. So he's like, in this 6 weeks beyond the deadline, I'm going to convince her to love me and we're going to make this permanent. The whole catalyst at the end is that she finds out via her terrible, awful mother
Yeah.
that Jameson lied that he finished the book.
Noah lied.
Noah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, it
Jameson
gets
could do no
confusing.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Jameson's perfect.
Yes. Jameson's perfect. Minus his accent. But Noah, they find out that Noah lied. And she just like shuts down. She's like, how dare you lie to me? You're no different than
Yep.
Damien. You're no different than anyone. I hate everything. And that is where I'm just like, I'm so over it. I
Yep.
hate that.
Yep.
I hate that. One, I thought that was a very weak point to have a breakup over.
Yeah.
I thought that was very weak. Like if you truly love someone, yes, they lied about finishing a book, not even like
Early.
anything.
Yeah.
I was like, that wasn't
Just so
even
he can spend
anything.
more time with you.
Yeah. And she like ghosted him for months.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is dumb. And I remember when I was reading it, I'm like, this is not a hill I would die on by any stretch of the imagination.
And that's what kind of made the whole so I preferred Scarlett and Jameson's romance story, but so I think that's what weakened Noah and Georgia's story for me is that like, okay, if you truly loved this person, and also it was very like insta lust for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But if you truly love and care about this person, then that's like such an easy conversation to have of like, well, I just wanted to spend more time with you. So that's why I just didn't tell you that but I still had it done by the deadline, but I just wanted to spend more, like, come on, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I think that's what cheapened it for me a little bit,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yeah,
I
yeah.
could see that. You know, because it's funny. I will say I thought Rebecca Yarros did a great job of really showing the maturity of the 1940s and how, I mean, these people were only like 23 and they were getting married after knowing each other for 3 months, 4 months, because they were like, we could die tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay. But the situations that they went through, what they were fighting over, vastly different. So the fact that Noah lied about finishing a book and she lost it versus Jameson withholding, hey, we're getting transferred to a different unit and we're
Right.
going to get closer to the enemy and die. And Scarlett's like, just don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
I'm like, very
I'm
different.
moving for you, but don't do that again.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what? So for me, I can't stand miscommunication tropes and I cannot stand third act breakups. I'm like, just, you don't always have to put some huge catalyst in there to spark some kind of
Drama.
Yeah. I'm like, that was unnecessary
I
to
agree.
me. I think she could have done a better job. So all that to say, I loved Noah and Georgia's story throughout. I just, that really just hit me.
Yeah.
But I did love Scarlett and Jameson. It was beautiful. I did you see the twist at the end coming?
Did not see that
Yeah.
at all. Did you?
No.
Oh my
No.
gosh, when they
referenced it a lot though.
I know. And then looking back, I'm like, man, I'm an idiot. Because he talked about, so Noah at one point is going through Scarlett's old, he finds all of her old manuscripts. And he's like, yeah, you can really see how she, progressed as a, so should we give away the spoiler?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the spoiler is that Scarlett, who we know as George's great-grandmother, is not actually Scarlett. It's Constance, her sister. And essentially what happened was at the very end of the book, it's what brought me to tears, but Jameson's plane goes down, and then all of his unit comes to Scarlett's doorstep and tells her, like, hey, he's just missing. We don't know where he is, but it doesn't look good. He's off the coast of Normandy. And then they have an air bombing raid, and she goes and finds her sister Constance. She thinks Constance is dead. So you think that Constance is going to die. And then sure enough, Constance wakes up and is fine. And then at one point, they're like, that wasn't Constance's blood. It's Scarlett's blood. And Scarlett has her son William on her hip, and Constance takes William. And Scarlett ends up passing from getting hit by the rubble of the air raid. So that was like the huge twist, is that this person that you know as Scarlett, who was Gran to Georgia, is not actually Scarlett. It's her sister Constance. But she ended up taking William, Scarlett's son, and going to America because they looked very, very similar. And she was kind of beat up from the rubble. So when they took her picture, it just looked like, Scarlett had been beat up. And she ends up living her entire life as Scarlett because it was just easier that way. She was supposed to be betrothed to the man that Scarlett was originally betrothed to for inheritance reasons. And so she was able to escape that marriage as well as start a new life in America. And so that was the big twist, was that, Georgia's reading these letters that she gets every month or so. Or
yeah, it's like every month. Yeah, her great grandmother is still sending her stuff on the grave.
Yeah,
like
which I
months.
thought that was really cool. And so she's like, surprise, it's your 7th wedding anniversary. Hope things are going well. By the way, here are the last letters that basically reveal that I'm not actually Scarlett. I'm Constance. And so that was really beautiful to like see the sisterly love of wanting to protect her name and take care of her son and stuff like that. So it wasn't actually Scarlett who got remarried to Brian. Right. It was Constance who got remarried to Brian.
And they leave a bunch of clues throughout. Like you said, Noah had said, hey, you can tell that their writing style differed. The other thing was like Scarlett, quote unquote, Scarlett waited something like 20 something years before remarrying, and everyone's like, oh, it's because she loved Jameson so much she couldn't bear to move on. When in reality, it was kind of a legality thing where the woman that Scarlett was originally going to marry, who was awful, she ran off and married Jameson. So lo and behold, the parents now make Constance marry him. Yeah. She marries him. Literally a week later is when all this happens. She's only been married like a week. And that's the heartbreaking thing is, I mean, everyone dies in this book. I feel like in the 1940s. So everyone was dying. Everything was like almost perfect timing. Like Jameson had worked so hard to get Scarlett to take their son, William. He was less than a year old. Take him abroad to America to escape all of this, death and destruction. I mean, it was literally, his plane goes down 3 days before Scarlett is supposed to leave for America. Like she was already packing. She got her visa approved and everything. They wait those 3 days to make sure his group of guys are looking for him. And after the 3rd day, they're like, we can't find him. Yeah. It's assumed that he's dead. So they're on their way for Scarlett and William to go to America when the air raid happens. And so Scarlett was right there. So the sad beauty of it is Scarlett and Jameson's story. Like, I mean, they were only together 2 years, but it was a strong 2 years. They were really only apart 3 days. Like he dies, and then you find out Scarlett died within 3 days. So they always
and then got reunited.
Together. Yeah. So they were reunited in death. Constance, the only reason she was able to get away with everything is because I mean, she had to make a split second decision. She had William and she was like, this is my nephew that I'm never going to see again, and they're loading him up on the plane, and
Who doesn't have parents now.
doesn't have parents now, and everyone just mistakes her for Scarlett because no one's met Scarlett. They're like, oh, you're Jameson's wife, and her nose is broken, and they have the same beauty marks, which I did not catch up on.
Yeah.
I didn't catch on earlier. Like,
No,
they have the same scar and the same beauty mark. I'm like,
Yes.
it's a little bit
Coincidence,
far-fetched. Okay. I was like, y'all weren't twins or anything. I don't know. They said that. They're like, we have the exact same scar. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's look past that little plot error. And so she, was like, I just happened to get my light. Oh, and whenever the ambulance comes, she accidentally switches purses with Scarlett. So she has Scarlett's identification and papers, and she's like, oh, well, I guess it's fate. So she takes on William and they go to America. So the reason, then you come to find out, she met Brian like within a couple of years of being there, and she loved him. I mean, she
Immediately.
was immediate in love with him. He proposed like every year or every month, something like that. And the only reason she didn't marry him is because her horrible, horrible husband across the pond in England, she felt like she couldn't.
Yeah. He's still alive.
Yeah. So technically she was like, I can't, even though he remarried.
Yep.
I thought that was weird.
I thought that was weird too. It was like she's like holding on to this like marriage when he got remarried.
Yeah, and he beat her. Like he beat her
all the time.
all the time.
Before they even got
Before
married.
they even got married. I'm like, why are you? I don't know. I thought that was weird. I don't know. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I think part of it was also because everyone knew how much Scarlett loved Jameson, and so for her to remarry so quickly would have been weird.
Yeah.
But 20 years later, I don't know. I'm like her son or her nephew gave her permission. I'm like, I think it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was their next door
okay to
neighbor
move
for
on.
decades. And so she waited until her horrible actual husband died before she moved on.
Yeah.
So, at the end, you find out she's lied to Georgia her whole life, that's not really her real great grandmother by blood. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say I got so confused throughout that was Scarlett was her great grandmother. I kept thinking it was just her grandmother.
Her grandmother.
That threw me off the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, also because me logically, I'm like, how old would they have had to have been? I'm like, I'm counting everyone. I'm like, everyone must have gotten pregnant at 20 because how could you have? I don't know, because she had just died.
Yeah.
Scarlett had just died. I'm like, she must have been 99 or something.
Something real old.
Yeah, because Scarlett was supposed to be like almost 30. Or Georgia.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. She was like late 20s for sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, it wraps up beautifully though.
It does.
It talks about, how it gives you the ending to the book, which I thought was neat, of how, Noah writes the happy ending where Jameson goes and reunites with Scarlett. And that brought a tear to my eye because I'm like, you think about it like in heaven, right? Like if they're being reunited in heaven, there's something similar going on there. And then, of course, with the miscommunication trope, Noah ends up going or who goes to whose doorstep? I'm getting a little fuzzy there.
So yeah, so he published the bad ending, the sad one.
Yep.
And gets ripped apart. I mean, like completely ripped apart. They're like, how could he do that to Scarlett? How could he tarnish it? And so he's like, you know what? He unplugs for a while because he also has an idea that he doesn't believe Scarlett is the same writer. So he's going to research it. Because he doesn't want to tell that to Georgia without having 100% proof. Right. So he goes over to England. I thought this was far-fetched.
Yeah, that he just so happens to find the plane.
He finds a plane that went down and it even says that he's like, after hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, okay,
millionaire.
He's like, he essentially pulls a Titanic. He gets like a submarine that goes to find
the wreckage,
the remains,
of
the
Jameson's
wreckage.
Plane.
Finds his wedding band, which I thought was beautiful. But I was like, okay, even a famous author doesn't just have hundreds of thousands to blow unless you're like J.K. Rowling level. So I was like, a little far-fetched. He's like 6 weeks and a couple 100,000 later. I'm like, you don't just throw that out there, sir. For a girl that's not even talking to you right now. He discovers Jameson wreckage and he's like, hey, I don't think this is the same author. So after a couple of weeks, he comes back, and as soon as he lands, he's getting all these texts, like he had his phone off or something. Thought that was weird because it was weeks. He turns it on and everyone's like, this is the best book ever. Right. What? And he's like, what do you mean?
I thought everybody hated it. Yeah.
Then he finds out that Georgia went back to the publisher and said, hey, produce
Publish
the
the
right,
happy
yeah,
ending.
publish the happy ending, because now I know Scarlet is actually Constance, and Constance did get her happy ending, and Scarlet, while sad, it has been reunited with Jameson this whole time. So that's what happens. He comes to her and he's like, what'd you do to this book? I thought, like, I promise I didn't change it. And she's like, kiss me, you fool. I love you. And I don't know.
3 years later, they're pregnant and
Oh, yeah, I
married.
forgot
and
they did
they did it afterwards, after all that.
Why did they do that afterwards? Did it reveal anything important?
She was going to work at her glass blowing shop, and then he
that's
was
right.
going to do something with his books. And
Yeah, because one of the things, and here's another thing that drives me nuts. Okay, she's all about trust. She's like, I don't like when people lie to me. I've been hurt.
And then she lies about the pregnancy thing.
She's like, turns out she's like, okay, well, since we're being honest, Noah, before
I can actually have kids.
Yeah, I just lied and I just told Damien I never got off birth control. I'm like, ma'am, you're mad at him that he finished a book early and didn't tell you, but you're hiding the fact that you can have children. And I don't know.
That's a really good point. I didn't really put two and two together until just now that's like a much bigger lie.
Much bigger. But anyways, so she's like, just kidding. I can't get pregnant. Let's get married. And then it moves 3 years later and she's pregnant. She's happy. And her mom is still a terrible person.
Yep.
I mean, and it is sad because, again, there's a lot of death. Constance makes it to the U.S. with Scarlett and Jameson's son, William. William gets married and has George's mom. And then when George's mom is like, I don't know, 9 or 12, William and his wife die in a car accident. So it's like Scarlett dies, Jameson dies, their son William dies, while George's mom, which I can't remember her name. I don't care about her.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She's a terrible person. She just wants money and
fame.
She doesn't get redeemed at all, even though Constance in her last letters like, don't be too hard on her. She had a hard life. I'm like, she's still a terrible person.
Yeah.
She swindled like millions out of Georgia and her grandmother. Yeah. So she doesn't get redeemed. But hey, at least Noah and Georgia get together and have a kid and get married and all that fun stuff. And
happily ever after.
It was cute.
It was good.
It wasn't like 5 stars for me. I don't know. What would you?
It was a 4 for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Georgia and Noah's story had been a little bit more matured, and I could have seen him writing the book in like a year, not 3 months.
Yeah.
So like if they had gotten to know each other over a year, then I think they would have had more time to like develop something, more substantial than just hooking up and Georgia even calls it like she's like, this is going to be a fling.
Right.
So if that had been different, and then all the little quirks that we just mentioned.
Well, because they say that they're like, and I agree. They said Scarlett and Jameson's love is like a once in a lifetime. Yeah. I mean, it really was beautiful, their love story. But then Noah equates him and Georgia's relationship. He's like, hey, they had their once in a lifetime. This is our once in a lifetime. And I'm like, like, again,
is
it was
it the
Insta.
same?
I was like, it's not the same. It could have been a little bit more well developed, but I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads because I had to. I would do like a 3.75. I don't know.
If we're getting technical.
If I'm getting really technical, because I'm like, oh, the ending, like it was beautiful, but there was still a lot of things that bothered me about it. But it's better than Onyx Storm to me.
You throw so much shade. That's gonna be like your litmus test for the rest of the year. Well, it wasn't better than Onyx Storm, so therefore
it was
that
terrible.
was gonna be like the gauge from now on.
It is because I loved Fourth Wing so much, so it's not her. I love her writing. I will definitely. This book made me definitely want to read other books.
She has one called "In the Likely Event" that I want to start. It's basically where these 2 people meet on an airplane, and if you realize, I'm sure you already know this, but for those listening and watching, Rebecca Yarros' husband is active military or was at least
that
for like
makes sense.
16. He was there for like 4 or 5 tours. And so all of her books have something to do with war or in the military. So In the Likely Event is about 2 people who meet on a plane, instantly hit it off. The plane ends up crashing, and then he goes to the military, and she does something in politics or something like that. And then they end up reuniting, but very, very different people after this like traumatic event that they're bonded by.
Oh,
But that one has really good reviews on Goodreads as well. And so I feel like people just know Rebecca Yarros
Yeah.
for her, fantasy. And then we're like discovering all of this, romance fiction that she's written all along.
which is kind of funny because I actually had this book, The Things We Leave Unfinished, on my TBR before I ever read Fourth Wing.
Really?
So I guess it must have come up at
That's
some point
interesting.
on like a romance books to read.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to tell me how that one is because I'm deathly afraid of flying. So
So maybe not the
maybe
one
I
for you.
shouldn't. So you tell me how it is and I'll read it because I have a flight coming up and I'm like,
Yeah, you just need to go to your happy place.
yes, no, nothing like that ever happens.
Oh my gosh.
So you tell me how that ends.
I will.
But yeah, so that was our book club read for April. Highly recommend you reading it. If you listen to this and you haven't read it,
Yep.
you now know how it ends.
Sorry.
But it's still really good. Like, and I liked the audio.
Yeah.
I think I really liked the audio because of the British accents, because the Yankee accent, and it suspends my reality of modern day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to say it puts you in the 1940s for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So highly recommend it. Like I said, Rebecca Yarros, I'll read your other fiction books.
Just not the plain one.
No, no, hard pass. I'll read your next one unless it's also about a plane. Then I'll see you on the
next
ninth wing.
period.
What are we on now? Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh wing. I'll see you on that one.
Oh man.
But yeah, so as always, thank y'all for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, send it to your friends.
Tell us what your book of the month was.
Yeah.
What'd you enjoy reading?
Or if you read this, what did you think about
Yeah.
it? Because, I don't
Maybe
know.
somebody hated it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
We're going to book club tonight, so
We'll let you know
we'll
if
find
everyone
out what
else-
they like.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I think it's going to get high rated in
think
book
so,
club.
too.
Yeah.
Our book club loves historical fiction.
Yes.
They all just eat it up. And
Yes.
so this is like a half historical fiction,
Yeah.
half romance.
Yeah, I liked it. But awesome. Well, thank you for listening to Sorry We're Booked. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.